Pearl's been mining for about 2 months, survived a 90% crash, and still I have my rigs on it. Keryx had a hard fork roughly about 3 days ago and has about a $610 24-hour trading volume. And I haven't fired up a single GPU on it yet. However, I have a video coming soon walking you guys through how to set unit up for that. And today I'm going to tell you exactly why I'm seriously considering splitting my rig between both and which one I think is a smarter play depending on what hardware you actually have. All right, so let me set this up properly before we get into the comparison. Pearl, the ticker is PRL. It launched on its mainnet on April 27, 2026. It is a layer 1 blockchain built around something called proof of useful work. Your GPUs run a matrix multiplication or MATMUL, which is the core math behind AI computations. They're partnered with Together AI, a legit AI interface company. Been out about 2 months, had its big moment, pumped up to about $1.65 on the A16Z wallet rumor in late May. It crashed roughly about 90% from that all-time high. Right now, it's actually sitting right around 41 cents on Safe Trade. I've got it pulled up right here just to be able to tell you guys the exact number that you're seeing currently. The next coin I want to talk about is called Keryx, ticker's KRX. It launched its mainnet on May 10th, 2026, roughly 2 weeks after Pearl did. Now, this one is built on the BlockDAG architecture, same underlying Ghost Stack protocol that powers Caspa. It does complete its blocks, 10 blocks per second in its near instant finality. And a couple days ago did a mandatory hard fork that completely replaced its mining algorithm with something called proof of model. Your GPU loads actual AI model weights into the VRAM and produces what's called a Merkle possession proof. The network cryptographically verifies that you're running the AI model you claim to be running, and simultaneously it's serving real AI interface requests on chain. 2 coins, both GPU only, both AI powered mining, but the mechanics and risk profiles, they're very different. Let me break it all down for you guys. If you guys want any more information on Pearl or Keryx, down below in the description, I will have my previous videos linked there. Check them out and let me know what you guys think. Let's start with what your hardware is literally doing on each network, because this matters more than the price right now. On Pearl, your GPU is running matrix multiplication or MATMUL. That's the same core computation that runs AI models. The proof is compute-based. The network verifies you contributed a certain amount of computational work. Pearl is partnered with Together AI to actually use that compute for Google Gamma model inference. Developers get a 25% discount on those inference calls, subsidized by mined Pearl tokens. So that is a real utility there. But I also want to be honest, proof of useful work right now only supports integer matrix multiplication. It doesn't yet support the low precision floating point operations that modern AI training actually needs. So your GPU is doing real AI work story is partially true and partially still in development. On Keryx, after the hard fork, it's different. Your GPU loads specific AI model weights directly into the VRAM. The Gamma 3-4B, the Dolphin 3.0-8B, or the Quinn 3-32B models, depending on your card. It walks over those weights and produces a Merkle position proof. The network can cryptographically verify your specific GPU is running that specific model. And on top of that, when someone submits an AI inference request to the Keryx network, your GPU runs it, publishes the results to the IPFS, and a 34-byte commitment goes on chain. There's a 1-hour challenge window, roughly 36,000 blocks at 10 blocks per second. If nobody proves your results wrong, you keep the full reward. If they do, part of it gets slashed. So here's the real difference. Pearl uses your compute as proof. Keryx verifies your GPU is running a specific named AI model and uses that as both the mining algorithm and the inference layer. Which approach is more defensible long-term? Genuinely open question. But on a how verifiable is the AI work scale? Keryx proof of model is more cryptographically precise. All right, here's where it gets personal, because this is the part that actually matters for home miners. Pearl, any NVIDIA GPU basically works. AMD technically works with some configuration. There's no VRAM tier system. You're running the same algorithm whether you have a 3060 or a 3090. The 3090 earns more than the 3070 because it's faster, not because it's on a different reward tier like in Keryx. And this is where it gets really interesting. There is a full VRAM tier system, and it directly affects your earnings percentage. After the hard fork, Keryx is CUDA only. AMD is out completely. But here's a tier breakdown. The light tier, 8 gigs of VRAM. That's your 3060s, your 3070s, your 3080s. You run the Gamma 3-4B and the Dolphin 3.0-8B models. These are uncensored models, no corporate filters. You earn about 82% of the block reward. The other 18% is burned. Then you have the high tier. That's 24 gigs of VRAM. That's basically your 3090s, your 4090s, your 5090s, right? You run Quinn 3-32B. It's a bigger model, higher quality reasoning outputs, full 100% of the block rewards. That's that extra 18% stays with you instead of getting burned. Then there is the top tier, which is the very high tier, and that's 48 gigs or more. That's professional workstation territory. Not most home miners won't have these types of GPUs. And here's why this is interesting for my specific setup. I've got a 3x3070 rig that's in the light tier. Keryx would be 82% rewards. My gaming PC, which is right here behind me, that's running a 3090 and has the high tier, which is the full 100% rewards. This is literally a built-in comparison test already sitting in my setup. So I am going to be running this test for you guys so you don't have to do it. Different tiers, different models, different reward percentages, one roof. On Pearl, both of these setups earn proportional to the hash rate, not the tier differentiation. The 3090 earns more because it's faster. That's it. No structural advantages for the bigger card beyond raw compute. Now I want to spend a few minutes on mining software because a lot has changed since I covered both of these coins separately. Let's start with BzMiner and CPU mining because this is where I owe you an update video or just an update itself. In my Pearl CPU mining video, I told you BzMiner added CPU support and that the catch was it was still in beta. That catch got bigger. I've been digging into this, and here's the real situation. BzMiner CPU mining is still the only software in the world that lets you mine Pearl on a CPU. That hasn't changed. But it's hard-coded to Lucky Pool only, not Cryptex Pool, not K1, not Hero Miners. Lucky Pool or nothing. There is no config, no flag, no workaround to point it anywhere else. Meanwhile, the BzMiner developers have basically shifted all their development to focus on the GPU performance. They dropped version 25.0.0 B9 on July 1st, and every update since CPU was added has been about GPU optimization. Ampere improvements, Intel Arc support, Blackwell support, AMD RDNA 1 through 4. CPU is sitting exactly where it was when they first shipped it. So if you were waiting for CPU mining to open up on multiple pools or get meaningful update, you're still waiting. I'm sorry. Now on the GPU miner side, the Pearl ecosystem has actually gotten more interesting since my last video. LP Miner or Lucky Pool built their own dedicated Pearl miner. This is the reference implementation for the Pearl hash algorithm. It's hosted directly on pearl.luckypool.io. It's what K1 Pool and other pools link to for their start guides, and it works on any pool. Supports NVIDIA and AMD. If you're a Lucky Pool person already, this is a natural choice. ForgeMiner, this one caught my eye. Built by a developer called Oxhash Raptor, just dropped version 1.3.2 on July 1st, literally a couple days ago, as I'm filming this. It's a very early project, but what makes it interesting is that it uses per GPU architecture kernels, dedicated builds for Pascal, Turing, Ampere, Ada, and Blackwell. That means if you're running older Pascal cards like the GTX 1080s, 1080 Ti's, ForgeMiner may actually outperform BzMiner on those cards. 1% dev fees, which actually isn't bad. A very young GitHub with 7 stars right now, but actively developing. Worth keeping an eye on. WildRig Multi also did an update to version 0.48.5 in June and added Pearl hash NVIDIA optimization. WildRig has always been AMD first, so if you're running a mixed AMD and NVIDIA rig and want one piece of software across everything, WildRig is now a legitimate option for Pearl. And there's a custom SRB miner multi-build with a Pearl hash algorithm that K1 Pool host configures for. Pure AMD play, not the fastest on NVIDIA, but solid if that's your hardware. On the Keryx side, it's still early. There's only one pool. It's the BKL mine, 0.5% PPL and S fees, Post hard fork, the network is still stabilizing. The software situation here is nowhere near the variety Pearl has yet, which is honestly part of the risk profile. Bottom line on software, Pearl's miner ecosystem has matured a lot in the past month. Keryx is still one pool, one miner, one network, stabilizing after the major fork. That asymmetry is in tooling is a real part of the risk comparison. All right, I want to be straight about where both of these coins stand from the market perspective. Pearl right now, price is roughly around 40 cents. That's a pretty decent drawdown from the original all-time high of $1.65 on the A16Z pump in late May. Trading volume is real, hundreds of thousands of dollars per day across multiple exchanges. But the emission situation is heavy. 5 million new Pearl coins are being mined and mostly sold every single day. That's about 3% of the entire circulating supply being added daily. For context, Dogecoin inflates about 3.3% per year. Pearl is doing that in a week. Pearl does have a smooth declining emissions curve, so this slows over time. But right now, there is a sustained structural sell pressure. Keryx right now, the price is roughly around 0.0006 per Keryx. That's a very low amount. 24-hour trading volume is about $610. It's listed on only one exchange, non-KYC.io, one mining pool. BKL Mine also has about a 0.5% PPLNS fee. The network is still recovering from the hard fork that happened a couple of days ago. Circulating supply is about 90 million KRX with about 6.6 million already burned through fees. Max supply is 9.9 billion of KRX. Every single transaction burns a minimum of 0.3 KRX. 100% of fees are permanently destroyed, and 5.6% of every block reward gets burned. So there's a deflationary mechanic baked into every level. So here's the honest risk breakdown. Pearl is a safer play right now, more liquidity, more exchanges, more development history, and now a much more mature miner ecosystem. You know what you're getting into. The risk is that emissions crater the price before the utility thesis proves itself. Keryx is a higher risk, higher upside speculation. The project is about 7, maybe 8 weeks old by the time I finish recording this video, and it just had a hard fork. It has one pool, one exchange, and you literally cannot exit a meaningful position right now because the liquidity doesn't exist to absorb it. But if the AI mining narrative gains momentum, and in all reality, it is gaining momentum, the runway from 0.0006 cents is a lot longer than it is from 18 cents. So let me give you guys 3 situations and tell you what I'd do in each one. Scenario 1, if you got a 3060 or 3070 on Pearl, you're running the same algorithm as every other miner, and now you've got real software choices. LP Miner, BzMiner for GPU, ForgeMiner, and WildRig. On Keryx, you're light tier at 82% block rewards, but you're locked into one pool and one miner. For mid-range GPUs, Pearl is more consistent, is a more consistent earner right now. Real liquidity, you can sell daily, and the miner ecosystem actually gives you options to optimize. Keryx is worth a small allocation, maybe one GPU, to get a position early. But don't put your whole rig at 610 daily volume. Scenario 2, you have a 3090 or a higher VRAM card. This is where Keryx gets interesting. Your 3090 puts you in the high tier, which is a full 100% block rewards running Quinn 3-32B. On Pearl, your 3090 is fast, but it's competing against 5 million new coins of sell pressure every single day. On Keryx, you have a structural hardware advantage built into the reward system. I'd actually consider putting my 3090 gaming PC on Keryx for the documentation angle and that tier advantage, while keeping the 3070 rig on Pearl with the now mature miner options for consistent daily earnings. Scenario 3, an older Pascal hardware like a 1080 Ti, Pearl just got more interesting for you with ForgeMiner. That's the first miner I've seen with dedicated Pascal kernels for Pearl hash. On Keryx, Pascal support after the hard fork is unclear since it's now CUDA focused on heavier AI model weights. I'd focus your Pascal cards on Pearl and use ForgeMiner as the test vehicle. Here's where I'm landing personally. Pearl is still where most of my GPU compute is pointed, and that's not going to change right now. Missions are heavy, price is down a pretty decent amount from the all-time high, but I've got it running on cryptex.com, so it's automatically converting into BTC. So I don't really have to worry about that too much. I'm going to do all that because I know the ecosystem, the pools, the miner options, and the sell rhythm. And that ecosystem has actually gotten better since I first covered it. More miners, more pool choices. I love the fact that I can go ahead and use Cryptex to go ahead and mine Pearl and cash it out into BTC. That matters to me. On the CPU mining front, I want to be straight with you. The BzMiner CPU situation is more of a dead end right now than I originally presented it to be. So I do apologize for that. They made it seem like it was going to be really worth it. It still works. You can still only mine on Lucky Pool. There are no other miners supporting it as of right now. If you built your whole CPU mining strategy around this, the honest answer is the developers have moved onto GPU work and CPU is still in maintenance mode. I'll keep monitoring it, but I'm not building anything around the CPU Pearl mining right now. Keryx is where my curiosity is. And my 3090 is the card that's going to go there first. The proof of model concept is genuinely different from anything else I've covered on this channel. The tier system means my 3090 hits full blocks at a 100%. And being this early on a project, this technically interesting, that's exactly the kind of ground floor I want to document before it gets on everyone's radar. Can both fail? Absolutely. This is early altcoin mining. The possibility either of these is worth 0 and 6 months is real, and I want you to understand that going in. I'm mining with hardware I already own, selling what I mine, and I'm not getting attached to a price. That's the whole strategy for me. So that's Pearl versus Keryx. Side by side, real data, updated software breakdown, no hype. My original videos on Pearl and Keryx are linked in the description and in the cards if you want the full deep dive on either coin. The Keryx setup video is coming soon. I'm going to fire up the rig behind me, walk you through the full post hard fork installation. And let me tell you, it has been a pain in the backside, so you guys really want to watch it to follow along if you're interested in mining Keryx. I'll show you the real hash rates on my 3090s, and if I do switch my 3070 rig over at some point, I'll show you the hash rates for that as well. Subscribe and hit the bell notification so that way you don't miss out on any new videos that are coming out, especially pertaining to setting up your Windows system for mining Keryx, as well as some other ones that I have coming out. If this helped you cut through the noise, smash that like button, drop a comment, tell me which one you're on, which one you're watching, and what hardware you're running. All the pool links, exchange links, miner downloads, and hardware references are in the description below as well. If you use them, it does help to support the channel, and it saves you guys a couple bucks. Like, comment, share, subscribe, turn the bell notification on and set it to all so that way you don't miss out on any future videos. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys soon.